Back tonight here on In Focus, and your reporting continues now. The acting public protector has subpoenaed President Cyril Ramaphosa to respond to the 31 questions relating to the Phala Phala farm robbery. It comes after Ramaphosa failed to meet yesterday's deadline to respond. The probe comes after former spy boss Fraser laid a criminal complaint against the president for allegedly concealing the theft of about $4 million in foreign currency from his Limpopo farm in February 2020. The Office of the Public Protector is investigating if Ramaphosa violated the Executive Ethics Code. Now, the office says it has communicated its decision to the President.
The Public Protector South Africa has received several media inquiries pertaining to its investigation into allegations of a violation of the Executive Code of Ethics against the President and finds it prudent to update the public due to the public interest on the matter. We confirm that the President had until July 18th, 2022 to respond to the allegations letter of June 7, 2022, after his previous request to have the initial return date of June 22nd, 2022 extended. A request for another extension has instead been filed. The request for a further extension has been denied and was communicated to the President on July 18, 2022.
Here to discuss further, we are joined by political analyst Sandile Swana. Swana, good evening and thank you very much for your time. Last week Friday, we saw President Cyril Ramaphosa digging in his heels at the SACP Congress, borrowing from the book of Boris Johnson, saying, "I will not be bullied. Let me do my work." And we are, continuing to hear noises coming from other quarters, including opposition parties and some within his organization, asking him to step down because he's clearly got no justification for what happened at the farm in Limpopo, in Phala Phala. Is President Ramaphosa deliberately playing the long game, and to what end?
Yeah, good evening, Zuli and your listeners. Now, this is a terrible situation, no matter how we try to frame it as a Stalingrad strategy or whatever it is, because these are the types of antics and games that President Zuma used to play in his time, that now President Cyril Ramaphosa is also trying to follow. If you look at the law says the public protector must be answered within 14 days. When they present the question, it is compulsory, by the way, for the public protector, when they requested to investigate this matter of Executive Ethics Code, to actually investigate. They have no option to make any other decision. So then you are given 14 days to answer. 14 days is a long time to write down a statement about your burglary. So clearly, President Ramaphosa at this juncture does not have a credible answer, and I would imagine his lawyers are trying to craft a version of events that would make it more credible and to win the case that is forming against him.
So we did, of course, reach out to the Office of the President to get their response to the subpoena. The Office of the President gave us a two-line answer. It reads, the Presidency's legal team are in communication with the Office of the Public Protector. Full stop at this particular point. I suppose to your point that you're saying the legal teams are currently trying to put their heads together to come up with some kind of coherent version of some sort. But going the subpoena route, is that good for his credibility and his ticket into this administration of transparency?
You see, when people say that the money came from somewhere in the Middle East in an aircraft, and it was stuffed into four-seater furniture, sofas and things like that, already your credibility of transparency is in question. Because if you are a transparent person, let alone a transparent president, you don't arrange for money to be stuffed into sofas in terms of the South African monetary systems and banking systems, etc., etc. You just don't do that. And it was Steenhuisen of the DA, the leader of the DA, who objected in the most strenuous fashion to having a president who's suspected, with a lot of evidence, I suppose, that he's stuffing money into furniture. So in terms of South African professional ethics, the South African laws, that is a highly questionable activity. So the credibility of transparency is already watered down substantially.
Looking at the president's posture, do you think he has prioritized winning the war, so to say, the battle within his own party before, I suppose, he gives some degree of response to the rest of the nation?
I do not think the president has even got a very good chance of winning any significant, other than his own faction. He is going to have his own faction supporting. But when you start having stalwarts like Mavuso Msima coming clearly out and repeating the statement and clarifying that the president should step aside and not interfere, because when he stays in office, he can use his presidential powers to try and suppress the investigations and so on and so forth. So, regardless, and I think Cyril Ramaphosa, being the person that he is, who is very career-oriented, might be trying to save his career more than anything else right now. But getting enough support in his own party, that he will get, but that will not necessarily help him much.
And that particular posture, I mean, of the president, do you think it allows him and gives him space to do the things that are necessary to be done as president, or is it just posturing and he's currently inundated with so much of this matter that he actually is not focusing on anything and anything that he needs to fulfill as the head of state?
The results speak for themselves. I mean, if we are trying to be honest here, Cyril Ramaphosa won the presidency of the ANC in December 2017. And I happened to rub shoulders with some of the people who were student leaders in the struggle in my time. And they were in a hurry that Cyril should take over immediately from Jacob Zuma and restore the ANC to its former glory. And that they did manage to get that done. But till today, the poor performance has actually accelerated. So the chair is not focusing on his job. And I say this only based on the results. And the results that we use to gauge these things come from Stats SA, they come from the Human Sciences Research Council, National Treasury, the Auditor General. Neither municipalities are working, not ESCOM is working, the police are not working. Violence, mass murders are happening. So what is he focusing on? I think he needs leave this way.
When you learn from history and how these things happen, do you think Cyril Ramaphosa is a student of history? And whether he is concerned, for example, around the mass call that is beginning to emerge, even from opposition parties who might even rally together in that call of a shutdown. You remember we saw the Zuma must fall movement gaining momentum, eventually forcing the ANC within itself to say, President Zuma, maybe it's time for you to go. Is he waiting for such a moment?
You could put it that way. But you know, there are people who believe that they are bulletproof. It happened to Mbeki, it happened to Zuma, but I am Cyril from Soweto. I'll be able to duck this bullet. He could be believing that. But if we're to look at the patterns that you have mentioned, historical patterns, he is on his way out. If we look at historical patterns, he is on his way out. Secondly, the other problem that he has is that in the November 2021 elections, there was a policy amongst opposition parties, and I think this policy is growing worse, it's getting more stringent, that they don't want to partner with the ANC anyway. So even if he holds on to power and they get their 40% in 2024, then nobody wants to partner with them anyway. What are his chances of becoming a president then?
What are the chances of the ANC surviving this particular storm and remaining the ruling party?
The ANC is in dire straits in terms of survival, because there was a hope amongst the liberals that actually a mega coalition is about to happen where Cyril's ANC partners with the DA. Now the next thing he does is that this secret of his, because he did it a long time ago, in 22 years ago, is now out of the bed. It is clear what type of person he is. So the very so-called ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa is not something that if you are building a future political party you want to partner with, because it has got questionable practices, especially around money.
Dr. Swana, I appreciate your time and thank you very much for coming on. That is political analyst Sandile Swana helping us in that conversation.